anytime you're trying to change and improve, it starts with the beliefs you have. So if you have a certain set of beliefs, those beliefs are going to influence the thoughts you think,
Yeah.
which influences the action you take, which then changes the habits you have, and the habits dictate the course of your life.
Welcome everybody to Born Unstoppable. My name is Thiago Luzvargi, and I believe you were uniquely designed to be an unstoppable force for good. Each episode, we will be bringing you incredible guests that have overcome challenges in their life so that you can learn from their experience and implement their strategies to grow in the areas that matter the most: your health, wealth, and relationships.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Born Unstoppable. In today's episode, I am so pumped because I get to talk to Anthony Pietrobono, who is a 24-year-old entrepreneur, online fitness coach, and investor. He is full of energy, and what's really cool is that he wasn't always an online fitness coach. In fact, we're going to be talking about how this started from a pain point. He started working out and started helping people for free and was eventually able to build his fitness coaching program and go full time. He now makes over $10,000 a month and is really a true inspiration. So I'm excited for you to listen to this podcast because hopefully it's going to motivate you, inspire you to really push through the limits that you set in your head. And we talk about so much more. But really quickly, if you are a business owner and you are ready to scale your business, free up time, increase sales, and achieve your full potential, then head on over to my website, thiagoluzvargi.com. There's a quick application. I want to jump on a phone call with you to see if we would be a good fit to make the right video for you so that you can focus on what you're good at in your business and servicing your clients. And we can focus on what we're good at, which is producing professional quality brand marketing videos. So, thiagoluzvargi.com. All right, Anthony, how are you doing today?
Great, Thiago. Thanks for having me on the podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for your willingness to be here. I'm excited because, it's kind of funny how we met. It was completely by accident, and it's during COVID, and it's at a gym, and we had to book an appointment wearing masks. And I saw you just give this other girl like a tripod for her to take her pictures and photos. And I'm like, for people who don't know, like I also have a YouTube channel. And I was like, oh man, does this guy have a YouTube channel? So I asked, and you did, and we'll talk about that later. And then I checked your Instagram, and man, you are pumping out a lot of content. You're a passionate fitness coach. And you don't do this like temporarily. Like you're pumping out videos, you're doing recipes, you have a lot of stories. So I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more and for my audience to get to know you how to become unstoppable on the level of fitness. There's a acronym, not an acronym, there's an alliteration that I like to bring up and think about in terms of a couple of areas of becoming unstoppable. All have to do with having your family, taking care of your family, your friends, your finances, fitness, and there's another one. I can't remember it. I don't know why, but just in the moment, I can't remember it. But yeah, they start with F. And so for you, it'd be interesting to see your perspective on becoming unstoppable on the side of finances. Oh, the fifth one was faith. Okay, we're going to dive into some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's do this. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada,
Okay. Where do you live now?
and currently in Aurora, Ontario. So it's right next to Newmarket, basically 15 minutes away. I moved out living on my own.
Okay, so what were you? We met in Barrie. Do you just kind of hop around gyms just to get to know more people and promote your what you do?
Yeah, in that moment, during all that COVID stuff, I did come, and it was actually also because the gyms were open before. They were
Okay.
open in the Simcoe, but not open in my area. So I went there
True.
for the first few weeks, and then just stuck around my area now that the gyms are open back up. But I did go to school at Georgian College in Barrie, so I
Yeah, yeah.
kind of have the area of friends there too.
That's smart. Smart. What's one of your favorite books?
Favorite book? Actually, it's right here. It's the Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, right here. It's a nice Bible size,
It's a
and
thick book.
it's so real quick. There's a lot of the chapters. One of them is self confidence, talking about the habit of saving, learning about your definite chief aim, imagination, enthusiasm, self control, having a pleasing personality, accurate thought, talking about failure, tolerance, and cooperation. These are all just things that we need to focus on to achieve success in anything we do. So I highly suggest that one. It's my favorite one.
Mm.
I refer to it frequently as well.
I read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. I did not know he wrote like a Bible-sized book as well.
Yeah, he also has How to Sell Your Way Through Life. I have like 5 Napoleon Hill books. He also has, like, Outwitting the Devil. I've read like 5 of his, but How to Sell Your Way Through Life is a really good one as well.
Yeah. Wow. I'll definitely one day I'll check that out when I'm done with some medical textbooks. Um what's one of your superpowers?
Yeah, actually, so a few people close to me have told me this before. So I believe one of my superpowers is the ability to explain complex subjects
Mm,
into simple terms. So breaking down things that are complex and making it sound simple
yeah.
for people to understand easier.
Okay, so you're a really good teacher.
Essentially, I guess so, yes.
Yeah. Man, that's really good. And I always have to, I always think about this because, like, I'm learning in medicine, you have to be able to break down complex topics to be able to teach yourself and then be able to teach patients in the future. And I'm not sure if you know about this technique, but it's called the Feynman technique. And it's essentially that, where you can break down something complex and explain it to like a 5-year old. Once you can do that, you know you understand the topic.
Right, that's powerful, so powerful.
So that is a superpower because one, it helps you learn fast, but also you can then communicate what you know to other people. And as a coach, that's essential.
Right, like to be able to influence people, right? So if you can't influence someone if you can't relate or communicate to them on their level, if you're communicating at this level and other people are down here, there's a gap and you're not going to be able to get to someone or influence them.
Yeah. Yeah. And last one, what do you feel is holding people back from finding success in fitness?
Biggest thing would say lack of commitment and consistency. So if you're looking to make progress on your fitness goals or anything related to that, it's typically lack of commitment and consistency. You're maybe having 1 foot in, 1 foot out approach, and you're not sticking with one thing long enough. You're changing too many things too frequently or
Mm,
doing something too drastic that's unsustainable. So you have to go for something that's more of a lifestyle change and more sustainable and think about the longer approach. So you have to have more patience at the end of the day and just truck along.
yeah. And I just want to point out to the listeners what Anthony just said is doing things too drastic or maybe like having too much on your plate. And something that I'm guilty of, and I assume like pretty much every young person is putting way too much on their plate. And sometimes like I feel like I might even be doing this right now. Like I'm in medical school and have YouTube and this podcast. And at one point I have to get to a point where I have to focus on one to scale that up. And so if you want to be unstoppable, if you want to be productive or create like a deeper level of impact, then you got to generate focus. And so that's exactly what Anthony is doing. He is focused and dialed in on fitness, and he's helping people grow in that aspect. And then his side things would be like Instagram and YouTube, but that's not his main thing. Um, and something that we can talk about later is how having too much on your plate leads to being burnt out, right?
Yes.
So I am interested in getting to know your story. So tell me, how did you get to where you are? Like, what was your mindset coming and becoming an entrepreneur and fitness coach?
Yeah, well, for me, it kind of all started with how I started working out, how I got into working out, because I had a really low self-esteem. I had self-confidence issues. I was a skinny guy growing up, right? And I got made fun of by my friends for having no muscle and losing to girls in arm wrestles when I was in like grade 8. So all my friends would joke around how I was like the skinniest guy ever. And I just, in the back of my mind, I didn't have confidence to socialize because I had this low self-esteem, right? So I started with working out and went to the gym as soon as I turned 16 years old, and I was able to do that because of the fact that I actually saw people online when I was watching YouTube videos, and I just saw people having more muscle, and I saw like, I feel like that's something I would need to improve my own self-esteem and have more muscle. So that's how it started for me. I started working out at 16, going to the gym, built up some muscle, and started going ahead and became really passionate with learning everything I could about the human body, because I figured if I can do this one thing to improve my own self-esteem, let me learn everything I can to accelerate my own progress as quickly as I can. So 16, 17 years old, I'm doing research every day on the human body. And that's when I fell in love with learning about how to help myself lose body fat to get leaner and build muscle faster. And I did a co-op placement as a personal trainer, 17, got certified when I was 18. And all my friends were asking me when I was 18 years old to help them out with nutrition and train them. So I started making free meal plans for them because of all my own research, and they saw my results, helping them out for free. And then they started telling their friends, and their friends were coming to me when I was 18, asking for help with nutrition. And I was tracking my nutrition using my FitnessPal, food scale, all this stuff. And that's when I started charging them real cheap, $50 a plan at a time when I was 18, and went away to college, and I competed when I was 19 in men's physique competition.
Yeah.
So then I was known by everyone as a fitness guy, and they were coming to me for advice, and I continued to scale it and help people with that. Then when I was 20, I was in college, and I had a course on entrepreneurship course, and one of the main projects was to create a website for a potential business that I could start.
Yeah.
And I was going to school for physiotherapy, so I wanted to be a physiotherapist. People didn't know this, right? I didn't plan on becoming an entrepreneur doing this, but I had people coming to me. So I just helped them because that's what I was passionate about in the moment. I created the website for this online coaching because I already had people coming to me for training and nutrition. And once I created the website, I decided to continue to promote that as I was learning to be a physiotherapist. Ended up having a co-op placement and realizing that I didn't want to get into physiotherapy. So I went ahead and stuck with the online coaching and reached out to a lot of people and focused on scaling my online coaching business, where I had 10, 15, 20 clients a month while I was in school, earning $1,000 or $2,000 a month through that while being in school. So that's how it kind of started when I was 18, 19, 20. And then I could talk about how I went further if you want me to go deeper on that.
Sure, I'll jump in before you go deeper. I just want to point out to everybody, like, how you got here. It started with a pain point. Like, going back to when you're younger, you were skinny and you felt pain, and you wanted to kind of solve that problem that you were having, which led you to taking action. Right? It's like, hey, I need more muscle, so you started learning, and you started working out and changing your nutrition, and this became a passion, and you started helping others for free. But then after, you got so much attention, um, you were able to take your passion, something that you like, that you're good at, you're seeing results, and then you start like making money from it. So that's like the dream come true. A lot of people who want to start a business or figure out their passion, their why. This is like the road to finding their dream job. And I would say becoming unstoppable, like the theme of this podcast is, because once you find what you like, and you're able to make money doing it, then it doesn't, I mean, there's ideally people would say it doesn't feel like a job. Now, everything kind of becomes a job once in a while, but it's a little bit easier to kind of keep pushing through. But it's interesting how a lot of times what we end up doing originates from a pain point. And so for me, I was on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and somebody asked me why I decided to get into medicine. And one core why that has been a driver for me is the fact that I've always wanted to give back to my parents because of so much that they've given to me. Like, as an immigrant, they brought us, my brother and I, to Canada, and I was thinking future. I'm like, I want to provide for them so that they can retire one day. And at that point, medicine was what came to mind, and I was interested in the human body, and I got tunnel vision and never looked sideways. And so for people who are wondering, maybe they feel stuck, they're not sure about what to do with their life or what next move to make. Like, think about what what brings pain. Like, what's your pain point? Can you solve that? Do you have an answer for that? And how can you help other people? Because the key between Anthony and I are that we didn't just sit and linger in that pain. We didn't feel sorry for ourselves. We both took action, and Anthony's action started helping people. I've helped people along the way. Obviously, I'm not a doctor yet. I will help people in the future. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of point that out, and how that storyline is in through so many people's like journey. It starts with something that you don't like and you want to fix it. So you do, and then there's a solution.
100%. No, so I completely agree.
All right, take us deeper into your story then.
Yes, so I was in college, fitness and health promotion diploma I'm working towards, 2-year program, and I'm continuing to try to just work on the business. And I actually didn't realize what I wanted next, because I realized I didn't want to be a physiotherapist anymore. I just realized, hey, I'm passionate about this business right now. It's currently working, and I know what I want to learn about. So at that point, I graduated and I got a job as a personal trainer for the city of Markham. And I was doing that while still running my online coaching business. And I wanted continued education still. So I went to the University of Guelph for 1 year and taking human kinetics, where I was going for a double major. It's essentially kinesiology. I was doing a double major in that and neuroscience, because I started to become fascinated with the mind, because I started to run into issues with my clients where I let's say I knew so much on how to help people with, the best training and nutrition advice, but if you don't have the right mindset, there's no way you're going to follow through and stick to the nutrition or training approaches. So I found this new problem that I had to solve to help my clients get the best results. I was like, okay, I need to help these people have the right mindset to even apply these things. So I was learning about psychology, I was taking cognitive psych, neuroscience, and I was learning more about the mind in school, as well as reading a lot of books on that. And then I decided to go ahead and um, finish 1 year. And as an experiment, I tried to take a year off. I told myself and my dad that, hey, I'm going to take 1 year off and give my business full attention and see where that takes me, because I don't know what I want to do long term for a career, but I'm really passionate about this, and it's grown to this level without me giving full attention to it. Let me try taking a year off and just see what happens. So I took the year off in 2017 of May and never went back to school. It's been over 3 years now since then, and I gave my business full attention. As soon as I got out of school, I signed up for a business coaching program with Cardone. It was a 3-month mentor program where I was learning about sales, entrepreneurship, business. And I went to the business conference as well, and I learned a ton. So the biggest thing was I knew I needed to learn new skills, so I invested in myself to go and do that. And as soon as I got out of school, I got my income from 2,000 a month to 6,000 a month within a few months, just from giving it the full attention in being at school. So that's where I got to there.
You increased your focus, like you said. Like, you noticed that you had a couple things on your plate that maybe were taking too much time, or you weren't so passionate, so you decided to take a break from school and then give just focus on fitness, and it worked out, which is amazing. It's like that's the goal. That's the goal. Make that stuff
Yeah.
work out.
It was cool. So it spiraled into more investments, because I invested in myself the first time with the Grant Cardone program. I flew out to Vegas when I was 20 or 21 years old on my own, first time. And I attended that, learned a ton in business, made a lot of connections there, and even signed up clients there just for meeting people. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I invested in this program the following year. So I was like 21, 22 years old. And what was cool about the second time I invested in the program, I got access to a whole bunch of sales techniques and learning about that. And I got put on for doing something basically like there was homework each week in the program, and I did the homework very well, and they noticed that, and they put me on one of the calls with all the thousands of people, and showcased me as like a success story.
That's awesome.
So I was on the call, and a guy who is now my business coach was in the program, watched the call, reached out to me after the call, saw potential in me, and said, hey, I think you have a lot of potential. I can help you scale your business. Let's hop on a call. Hopped on a call with him, and he's been my business coach for over 2 years now. He helped me scale my income to over 10,000 a month. So
That's crazy. That's amazing. And again, I'm going to jump in here and point out like what you just described was being excellent and not just doing like being mediocre at what you do, but doing everything with excellence. And so you could have sat in that coaching program on the Zoom call and not done the homework, but you decided to take the homework, execute on it to the point where you stood out from the crowd. And then because you executed on it really well, it got you noticed and opened up more opportunities for you to grow. And it literally took you from like the 6,000 a month to 10,000, and who knows where it's going to take you in the future. So I guess the principle here is like, if you want to grow in life, if you want to kind of push past boundaries or any limits that you have, whether physical, like in your mind, because a lot of our boundaries are in our mind. And I want you to talk a little bit about that in terms of like the mindset that you learned about. Um, the thing that we have to do to push past that is just do things with excellence. And by doing that, we're going to create opportunities for growth. It might be uncomfortable. Like I'm sure you weren't expecting to be called out to be on Zoom. It was a little bit uncomfortable, but you grew from that and it paid off. So let's go back to, you studying a little bit of neuroscience and now we have tons of experience coaching. What do you find, like what works? Like is there something that you can take your clients to in their mind to think about that will help motivate them further? Like, could you just explain a little bit about that?
for motivation,
Yeah, yeah. Like how if you have somebody who wants to become more fit and they're struggling, what would you said like what would you tell them in terms of mindset? How they can change their mindset so that they can then change their physique?
yeah. Well, first, routines help a lot. So if you're setting a good schedule, you can then just start to build new habits. So the goal is to build new habits. That's how you're going to go ahead and really change what's going on. But
Hmm.
it comes through going through uncomfortable scenarios and understanding that when you're doing these things, you're going to have some failures along the way. So if you understand that the only way you're going to fail is if you're doing something new, which like you need to go through the failures to go ahead and actually succeed because you're doing something that's uncomfortable and new. So you're not going to fail if you're doing something that's comfortable and what you're used to, but you're
Hmm.
not going to grow and change and improve. And anytime you're trying to change and improve, it starts with the beliefs you have. So if you have a certain set of beliefs, those beliefs are going to influence the thoughts you think,
Yeah.
which influences the action you take, which then changes the habits you have, and the habits dictate the course of your life. So if you can go ahead and build in systems, like whether it's, maybe you need to hire a coach, maybe you need to have new information, maybe you listen to audiobooks to change the way you think, the thoughts you think, because at the end of the day, it starts with you needing to take new actions at the end of the day. So how do you take new actions? You implement things like working with a coach or having audiobooks and learning more and changing
Yeah.
your thoughts.
I love that. What you said to summarize really is what you believe determines how you'll behave. And a quote that you said just now that I also love is you need failure to succeed. And it's hard. Like I've listened to this many times and
Oh, I'm guilty of it too.
it's so easy to get pumped and be like, yeah, I just got to, go through failures. I got to take that. I don't know, start with like a cold shower. You got to like push through. But man, once you go through a failure, it's it's like a new level. You go from just doing like practice problems to actually doing the test, and then it reveals a different perspective on certain things. But it's so true that it's like we automatically expect that we're going to be good at something when we start off. At least that's what we hope. Because we were good in one area of life, we hope that those skills will translate, but it just doesn't. And oftentimes, when you start a new skill, when you start a new habit, you fall flat on your face and you can be like discouraged. But just an encouragement to everybody out there, it's like failure is part of success. Like if there was a formula, you cannot have success without failure. Like it's one of the variables in there. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
So you mentioned your why and kind of what you bring people through. So what's your future business? No, what's your future vision for your business at this point? Like you started off kind of like as a hobby, a little passion. Then it started getting more serious. You went from maybe 2,000 to 6,000 a month, now up to 10,000 or more a month. Like, what's your future goal? I don't know how far out you plan, maybe 3 or 5 years. Everybody plans a little bit differently, but what's your vision?
Yeah, so currently, I would say that I want to combine fitness, finance, and mindset to help people in all those three aspects: fitness, finance, and mindset, to live a happier, healthier, more successful life.
Mm.
In the future, like as an example, I just hired my dad actually as an employee. He's now working for me, and
Yeah,
I
it's
just
cool.
hired. Yeah, I just also hired another guy that I'm working on the training for to help with sales. So the plan is to work on finding more ways to scale the business to help. The ultimate goal is to help 10 million people
Mm.
improve their lives through helping them with fitness, finance, and mindset. So I want to have, for now, group challenges and group coaching calls where I can educate and inspire people to improve their fitness, finance, and mindset. Down the road, I plan on writing a book. I also plan on having in-person conferences
Yeah.
where I'd have, guest speakers and have like a multi-day conference where it would be like a full transformation for people, all the fitness, finance, and mindset. So that's kind of the future of that.
That's awesome. That's really encouraging, man. And it's good to like have those big goals. 10 million seems like a lot, but honestly, like within a couple of years, it's very possible with internet, and as long as you keep putting in that effort and scaling. And it's so nice that you got to a point where you are scaling because you can, like you said, you have somebody work in sales, and that makes it a big difference because that's one thing you can focus less on, and you can focus on just delivering what you're good at. Um, what would you give? Like, what advice would you give to somebody or for the listeners for overcoming failure?
Yeah. So the first thing is understanding that, like we talked about before, but that it's part of the process.
Mhm.
And then you're going to need to have things to pick you up so you don't fully lose momentum after the failure. Because one of the issues is sometimes if we fail at something, we kind of lose hope completely, and
Yeah.
we'll either change our direction of whatever we were working on, and then later we'll realize, oh, you know what, we were really passionate about that, and come back to it, and now you're kind of starting back from ground zero, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that hurts us the most. So the best thing to do is have systems and have tools to be set up so that way when a failure comes by, you're devastated, but for a short period of time and you get back to it. So the goal is to stay in the funk for a shorter period of time. And when you're overcoming failure, you need to understand that you're going to have people around you, like a support system. If you don't have a support system around you, then you get too caught up in your thoughts and then you think
Yeah.
yourself into thinking you have nothing going for you more and you lose faith. So the support system is huge, having coaches and then understanding that as part of the process and focusing on wins daily. So one of the things I do each day is I journal. I'll write down in the morning my long-term big vision goals, big things
Yeah.
what I want to achieve. I'll write down the targets for the month and I'll write down targets for the day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I write down the wins, what went, like what good things happened today. And by focusing on the wins, it causes you to look for the positive things that actually
Yeah.
went about your day. So that way you're not caught up in like the failures that happen.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's really important. I love how you said don't lose momentum, and maybe we're just focusing on fitness specifically. Sometimes when we're ambitious about becoming fit, maybe we have a couple day streak and we're doing well, and then you miss a day or you miss two, and if you just kind of accept that as a like failure of not maintaining that habit, you lose that momentum, and it's so much harder to start up. And you lose progress. Not only you lose momentum, you lose muscle. So on top
100%.
of that, so what would you recommend? Like, we'll come back. I want to talk about that support system, but in the case that somebody is working out and they lose a little bit of momentum. Like, what would you recommend for them to get up, scrape their dust off their knees, like not like what would you recommend so that they keep going, even if it's small, like baby steps to keep like even walking? You don't have to be running.
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
I was just going to say that. So the best thing to do is structure something in your calendar first thing in the morning, and it could be something as easy as a walk because you're trying to rebuild momentum. So when you treat something as a failure, again, it's baby steps. You need to go back to ground zero. You have to drop your expectations from yourself, and then say, what can I do today to move me closer towards my goal tomorrow? But don't
Yeah.
make it too extreme because if you're too extreme, again, you're not going to stay with it. So you start with a walk, let's say in the morning, and you could say, okay, I'm going to aim to drink this amount of water today. Keep it small, keep it simple. And then as you start to do those things on a regular basis, make it more specific and say, I'm going to try to eat 4 meals a day with protein sources in each meal, or have the 4 meals with protein and veggies in each meal. And then you can go more specific as you go and aim to hit a certain calorie goal. But again, always go back to baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. Keep it simple, so you don't overwhelm yourself. Um, so earlier you mentioned having a support system is very key, and I completely believe that, because and the reason why you said that, I think this is why I wrote it down, is that without the support system, you get in your head, and oftentimes what's in our head is not good, because the voice that's louder is the negative one, the one that's trying to suppress, let's say the optimistic self, the maybe ideal self. I know that with me, I can get in my head a lot, and I don't always have like a, let's say, a strong support system ready to talk to. Sure, there's like, you can use WhatsApp and call people and message people, but even right now with COVID, we can't even. I'm not even going to class. Like, I can't even see my friends. So I just want to encourage people that if you feel overly pessimistic, or you feel like you're talking down to yourself, or that you can't do something, ask yourself, are you spending enough time with friends? Do you have a coach? Are you, if you have a good relationship with your parents, like, are you talking with your parents? Because even the act of spending time with them and venting. I remember listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson, and he said, for a couple, you need at least 90 minutes a week of venting to one another, to feel, to kind of get it out of your system. So like, we are designed to have to talk to each other and work things out verbally, not just in our minds. So having that support system is super important. And do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, well, first I would say like it's been you and me both probably. I could feel like we probably tend to more keep things bottled up, and we're not the type of person who would talk about things. We're like, oh, we'll just like think about it. But
Yeah.
it's been crazy just to talk to someone and explain the thoughts you're thinking. Once you get it out, you're gonna feel way better. To add on that, I worked with a psychotherapist January, beginning of the year, January 2020, was doing weekly sessions with a psychotherapist just to talk things through and talk about the thoughts I was having so I could understand myself better.
Hmm.
So that's another example of someone of having a support system. I have my business coach, and with my business coach, I can talk to him, and I'm also in a group with other online fitness coaches and gym owners just like me. We all talk to one another, so I can then also talk to them on how I'm feeling. I can talk to my parents, and I have friends I can also talk to. So I have a lot of different people in a lot of different areas that I can go out to and reach out to for help. And I think it's really important to not rely on just one set of people, because if you, let's say you just use your parents, well,
Yeah.
your parents have a certain set of beliefs. So when you go and talk to them in a certain way, they could influence you that might not align with the way you're thinking. Depends on
Hmm.
the subject. So it helps to have those people like the business coach, or the people who are also going through the same struggles you're going through, so they can relate better. So that when you do talk to them about that specific subject, they can give you accurate advice and info and key insights.
Yeah, completely agree. Like, I have, I talk to my parents, and then I have doctor mentors that I talk to about medical stuff. And so I definitely want well-rounded opinions, and especially people in that area of expertise. So moving on to the next question, what are some tools or resources that you use to increase your productivity? I know one is, you mentioned journaling. You can kind of uh, remind us or summarize again what you specifically journal about, and then mention the other tools that you use.
Yeah, I could talk about a morning routine.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so every morning I've been doing this since 2016. I have yeah, so I wake up. I have 500 milliliters of water by my bedside, so I drink the water as soon as I wake up. I go to the shower. I have a cold shower, always ice cold, and I play an audiobook in the background. So I'll put on one of my
Okay.
audiobooks. Currently, I'm listening to The Mindful Athlete by George Mumford. That
How?
one's
Wait. Wait. I'm curious. How long is your cold shower?
So I keep it on ice cold for about 60 full seconds, which is it's
Okay.
a long time. It
Yeah,
feels like a
it
long time.
is. It
And
is.
then I'll turn it to warm. So it's not an
Okay.
ice cold shower the whole time. Yeah, it's more like a shock the system thing.
Oh, that's good. Like I haven't done that. I've done the opposite where I'll start warm and then go cold. But I feel like the reverse is good because at least it gives you something to look forward to. Because man, I dread the cold shower. It's just horrible, and I push through, but it sucks.
Yeah, you're gonna procrastinate in that sense. This way, I just hop in, turn it on, I give it a little hyperventilation for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then I'm good.
Okay, I
It's
might
also
try
great for
that.
the immune system. Science actually does. The cold showers are great for the immune system.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I do that, play the audiobook in the background, whatever I'm listening to while I go through that shower. When I come out, I have a supplement I use. It's like a peppermint spray extract that's sprayed in my hands, and it helps with oxygen flow. So I spray it in my hands, and I take 30 deep breaths right into the nose and then out of the mouth. Again, get oxygen in my system so I can think clearly and have more energy. Then after I get changed, I go sit down with my journal, and that's when I'll write down the goals. So the big first thing is vision goals. It's one or two things. Could be a large financial goal, could be a large goal of like where you want to live or whatever vision goal.
Yeah.
After that, I'll write down my goals for the month or targets for the month. What I want to achieve this month. It could be put out 10 YouTube videos in the month of September. Right, I could write that down. Then I'll write down targets of the day, 3 to 5 things that would basically make today a win. What are 3 to 5 things I want to get done today? One of them could be my client check-ins. And then I'll go through and meditate for 15 or 20 minutes. Recently, it's been a gratitude meditation. So I use actually one of the apps I use is called um, Balance. That's a meditation app I use, Balance.
Okay.
I also use another app for they're like brain games. It's called Elevate, and it's math, reading, speaking, and writing. So you do a quick little 1 or 2 minute game to improve your reading, math, speaking, or writing. And I'll do a few of those games in the morning. So those are 2 apps I highly suggest. After the meditation, that's when I'll write down. I'll actually read a bunch of affirmations I'm trying to instill in myself. So one of them is I'll say, no matter what, I will be okay. I'll say, I care more about my character than my reputation. I have impeccable honesty and integrity. I'll say a whole list of them. And that's after
Yeah.
that, then I'll start on the most important tasks of the day.
Wow. All right. Wow. Okay. So, how long does this morning routine take?
That whole thing takes 40 minutes.
Okay, that's not too
It's a
bad.
lot of things I explain, but it goes real quick. It's 40
Yeah.
minutes when I'm before wake up time to start to work.
Yeah, yeah, and I know a lot of routines like take up to an hour, and so that's one thing I've been adjusting my morning routine, trying to kind of play around with certain things. So that's good. It's actually pretty quick, it's pretty straightforward. I noticed that I wake up faster if I just take a shower. Noticed that recently because it's kind of hard to kind of power through without taking that shower to wake you up. And journaling. Do you journal goals for the month and vision goals every day, or is that just kind of sometimes?
Yeah, I read it every day to keep it top of mind.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah.
And just to recap for the listeners out there, the apps he mentioned were Balance for meditation and Elevate for brain games,
Yeah,
um, to keep his neuroplasticity strong.
100%. For
That's
productivity though, I also use Pomodoro. That's Pomodoro technique.
yeah.
So whenever I'm trying to get things done, you can just search up Pomodoro and they have a timer. It's essentially just you can choose the time you want to work for and then the break time,
Yeah.
and it's really good for productivity. Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's like interval training. It's let's say you're focused for let's say 30 minutes or 40 minutes, take a 5 minute break and then you're back on and then you kind of play around with
One
Whatever
tip with that
works
is
for
I
you.
don't watch YouTube videos because if I watch like on the break, like
Right.
if I watch a YouTube video, I might just get strung into more YouTube videos. So on the break, I might go for a walk or do something like that.
Yeah, you gotta it's gotta be a productive break. You
Yeah,
can't be a procrastination break. That's
yeah,
awesome. Those are some amazing. I love morning routines. I love listening kind of what do successful people do in their morning. So I might implement some of that in my routine. What's your favorite quote?
favorite quote is the only limit is the one you set yourself. At the end of the day, the only thing that limits us, in my opinion, is the fact that our own beliefs or whatever we cap ourselves. We always cap ourselves. No one has a certain limit. We never realize our full potential. We always cap it ourselves.
And why do you think we always cap ourselves? Like, why is it that we have to work? We don't have to work hard to set limits, to give ourselves limits, but we do have to work hard to break those limits.
I think it's more just a safety mechanism. I guess we're just too programmed for over the years for civilization to do things that make us feel safe.
Yeah.
So the only thing that matters is survival based on our brains from thousands of years ago. So I think that's the biggest thing is do whatever is safest, not whatever is has the least probability of success, but could make our life better.
That's true. No, but that's a great quote because I agree, and that's like the whole point of why I started this podcast and why even things when I mentioned on YouTube for pre meds, people want to go into medical school. Like so many of the obstacles that we find are obstacles that either we have placed before us in our minds or obstacles that maybe we grew up that were indirectly placed. So maybe like parents or what you see on TV. And so I know a lot of people, uh, let's say if you're an ambitious person and you want to dream big, a lot of people might not welcome that because they haven't been through that. They're uncertain, they have a little bit of fear, and they want to keep you safe. And also your mind wants to keep you safe, and so anything to avoid discomfort. But it's important to be self-aware of that and make a conscious decision to kind of push it. Like, don't just because there's a limit, just because nobody's done it or nobody that you know has done it, like don't limit yourself to that. Try it. And kind of like going back to how you started fitness, you could have said like, oh no, I'm focused on physiotherapy. I don't think I'm capable of running my own fitness course or like coaching people. But you might have thought that, like you might have thought, oh, I'm not sure if I should do this, but you took the chance and you went close to that limit and you kind of just moved the line and you just keep moving the line until you get to where you want or until you're satisfied. So that's the key to keep to being a high performer and to really achieve the things that you want in life is to not let yourself be bound by these limits.
Yeah, even today, I have people who put more belief in me than I have in myself, even
Mm,
today. So I have way more belief in myself based on my past experiences. I have so much more confidence. Yet
yeah.
there's times where I'm beating myself up saying like, like I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. I don't know if I'm good enough. Yet I have coaches and I have people who are like, should give me my head a shake. Like, dude, what are you thinking? Like, you can do this, 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 this. I'm like, you think? Like, you think I can? Like, of course.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that with like medical school. I kid you not, like I have doubted myself hardcore in terms of like being able to study all this content and if I'm like really gonna enjoy it. But then I talk to people that are watching from the outside and they're like, what are you worrying about? You're fine. Like you made it. Like you're strong, you're capable, just stick to it. Like stop fearing, get out of your head. And it's like, oh, okay.
Right? It's crazy. We doubt ourselves so much.
Uh, yeah. All right. So, um, I think your journey's pretty inspiring as you keep pushing the limits for you and what you can do, and as you strive for more. What do you think are three traits of somebody who's unstoppable?
Yeah, I'd say the first one that comes to mind is being committed. So the commitment level needs to be there. You could pair with that, resiliency or persistency. So basically, at the end of the day, your will is going to get you there. So if you decided like, hey, this is a path for me, and you've got the focus, like we talked about, give the focus, and you say, I'm going to do this no matter what. That's
Mhm.
commitment. And if you don't veer off course, or if you veer off a little bit but bring back to where you are and you stay committed, that's one thing that's necessary to be unstoppable. With that, second one would be having a growth mindset. So not having the mindset where you think everything is fixed, having that
Yeah.
neuroplasticity mindset, saying that things can change. I can change the way I think. I can change anything in my life. I can change the thoughts I think.
Yeah.
So you need to be open-minded in that regard. The third thing is having the definite purpose. So we need to have that clarity on what we want to achieve to be able to stay committed and stay the course. So if you're kind of going through life and you don't really know exactly what you want to do, how you want to help people, there's no way you can stay on track and be unstoppable.
Yeah. Without that thing in the future, I always think of it like without the purpose or what you want to achieve is in the future. And sometimes when you feel like giving up, you need that kind of like future self to like pull you through the hard times. You need that clarity. And for sure, I would not be where I am if I didn't have that definite purpose of wanting to become a doctor for my family and for to help others. um, and commitment, like leaving no outs, almost making it a non-negotiable. And whatever you want to do in your life, whether it's like career or relationship or learning a hobby, we majority of people will feel a little bit of discomfort and they'll want to quit and they'll make an excuse and they'll say it's too hard. But if you want to be different, if you want to be successful, then if you have that clarity and that growth mindset, you have to be committed, whether in sickness or in health. Like whether you like what you're doing or you don't. And I'm sure as a fitness coach, man, like you probably have days that you don't like what you're doing, or you have at least tasks that you don't like to do. Like nobody really enjoy. Some people enjoy accounting or numbers, um, but there's these mundane tasks that you need to do that are part of life and part of business. Um,
Yeah, so
and
self-discipline goes along with all of that. You need to be able to have the ability to force yourself to do things you don't want to do in the moment because you know that they have a positive impact on your future.
love
That's
that.
one of the things that always drives me is I always think about, okay, it comes back to delayed gratification. So the more you can do things that you know you don't want to do in the moment that are also going to benefit your future, the more you can stack those up and build the muscle of self-discipline, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something you could tack on to this as unstoppable thing is you need discipline. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, too, with discipline, that's essentially willpower, and willpower does wane throughout the day. It's not unlimited. We don't have unlimited willpower, so we need to have
Yeah.
systems and other things set up as well. But
Yeah. True.
yeah.
All right. So commitment, you got to be committed, growth mindset, definite purpose. And as a bonus, you need self discipline. Um, so what are you current? So for people who are maybe curious, they love your story, they want to know more about you or what you're doing. What are you currently working on right now?
Yeah, so currently I'm working on launching a 6-week group challenge to improve people's mind and body, essentially. So I'm helping people lose body fat and improve their mindsets so they can live a happier life with a leaner physique and teach them how to eat for their body and their goals. So I'm running a 6-week challenge and I'm going to be running those frequently. $500 cash prize goes to the winner who has the most physical progress over the
Nice.
6 weeks. So yeah, so if you're looking to lose body fat and improve the way you think, then this one could be great for you, and I'll educate you each week. That's what I'm launching now.
Is this a challenge that you think you'll be doing in the future as well?
Yeah, definitely gonna be running those. Yeah, so I've run a few in the past, and I've had people get a lot of success with it. And
Mhm.
the biggest thing is I've been able to educate people on how to eat for their body and continue on their own. I set them up with I talk about morning rituals and how to structure your day, and teach you about proper beliefs and also all about nutrition, how many calories you should eat for your body, and how to train for your body. It's a whole educational process to
Yeah,
take you from start to finish.
that's amazing. If people want to get in touch with you and they want to learn more about this challenge or just what you do in general, how can they find you?
Yeah, best thing would be Instagram, first and foremost. And Instagram is Anthony underscore Pietrobono. My last name is Pietrobono. YouTube as well, full name as well, Anthony Pietrobono. Those are the two best ones, Instagram and YouTube. And then obviously you can find me on Facebook with my name, but those two are the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just quickly mention a little bit what you're doing with YouTube. You made a kind of a transition from, at least on like fitness, and you're mentioning more finances. What's the goal there?
Yeah, so I've always been doing fitness on Instagram as my business, and I've had a passion for finance and personal finance and stock market investing, also some real estate investing. So since that's been a passion of mine the past few years, I started the YouTube channel to help people with their finances. So on that YouTube channel, I talk about my experiences through personal finance and building up my net worth through stock market investing primarily. So I want to help more people with finances because recently that's been something that I feel like it's very important to me. And
Mm-hmm.
the way the way I plan to continue to be an entrepreneur is to work on the things that are most important to myself. So it started with fitness, and it's still fitness, but now I have a huge passion in finance just because I've realized, number one, how there's such a huge disconnect from people not doing very well with finances, and how I've had some success with myself at a younger age, and I want to help share that knowledge with people essentially.
That's great. That's so good of you to kind of take what you learn. I know you're passionate about learning and excelling, and also packaging that in video so that people can learn from you and then apply what you're teaching. So that's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So, um, Anthony, thank you so much for your willingness to come on this podcast and sharing your journey and your tips. You are man, I just know that you love reading books, and I could tell that you have this innate curiosity to learn and also to teach, which is amazing. And so there's so much more content that we could probably talk about. So I want to encourage people to go check out your Instagram and YouTube. But yeah, thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me on here. It's been a pleasure. It's been great.
All right, guys, if you gained any value from this episode, I ask that you would take a screenshot of your screen, wherever you're listening to, maybe it's Google Podcasts or Spotify, and tag me at Thiago Luzvargi and tag Anthony at Anthony. It's period, Pietrobono underscore. Tag Anthony at Anthony underscore Pietrobono and share it on your Instagram story so that more people can learn how to live an unstoppable life and impact this world for good. Until the next episode, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Hey, thank you again for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, it would mean the world to me if you left a 5-star review on whatever platform you're using. Maybe that's Apple or Google Podcasts. It would mean a lot. Also, if you know anyone who has an unstoppable story, is inspirational, and is having success in their area of expertise, then please send them my way so that I can share their story with others and encourage more people to live the life that they were designed to live. And I'll see you on the next episode.